It's not that there are no gifts inside grief. It's not that you don't learn anything. It's like, what is the expectation? So you just described there were things that I discovered in the depths of my pain that I'm really thankful I saw. Choosing that and finding that and owning that for yourself is beautiful. Now, if we flip that and you're in pain and I come to you and I say, babe, you got to look for the gift. Find the silver lining in this. You got to learn your lesson. You only needed this because you needed to learn a lesson about what's really important in life and how much pain there is in the world. Like me telling you why you're having this experience, what you need to learn from it, and you better turn around and have some gifts out of this. That's a very different story. However you experience what you're living is right. It's when we come from the outside and we prescribe things. We say, you have to turn this into a gift. You have to find the silver lining. Look, some things
It's like
just
homework.
suck. It's more homework. And some things just flat out suck, right? There is not a silver lining in things.
You'll find you might learn something from it, how to process grief and not dismiss people, in their grief.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean,
Maybe.
I have two friends right now who are under 50, one of them dying of cancer, one of them hopefully surviving it. Like that just sucks. There's no silver lining in that. There's no transformation porn in that. Like it's not an inspiration. It's just crappy, right? And I think we just are so uncomfortable letting things be bad. Right? There's just this real desperation to make things have a happy ending. And the reality is that not everything has a happy ending.
Do you think that's due to sort of the underlying thread of all movies being, the hero's journey?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Joseph Campbell's hero's journey is about superhero you have hopes in, faces adversity, we all lose hope, superhero loses hope. And then boom, transformational porn. I'm going to definitely use that again. Yeah, do you think it's due to sort of how we model? I think of even that movie, Love Actually, which I found that movie really actually not very love filled. But one of the scenes is a guy who is widowed and then, finds love and blah, blah. Like, do you think it is due to the underlying thread that we have about the expectation of humans in their story?
Yeah, and I mean it certainly predates Joseph Campbell, right? That whole hero's journey is a journey of transformation, right? Like the hero is going on with their life, they're just like do 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 do, and then something terrible happens and causes them to go on a journey. The journey is full of dangers and misadventures and roadblocks and barriers, but with the help of allies, seen and unseen, animal and human animal. Eventually, the hero emerges victorious in the end with gifts that they couldn't have acquired any other way. So that's a description of the hero's journey, which is also a description of every Marvel movie and every work of fiction, and that is the narrative underlying Lord of the Rings and all of those things. So we expect that fifth act, right? Like hard things happen and you have to demonstrate your growth from them. This idea that, I don't even think that the hero's journey at its root is necessarily prescriptive. It's one way of telling a story. But the way that we have absorbed it is as a prescription, right? Sorry that crappy thing happened to you, but now you're on a journey. Look for the helpers. And if you look for the helpers, you're going to come out of this as a wiser, better human. This got really cemented in the 80s and the 90s with the response to the AIDS epidemic. And that was the 80s, the 90s were sort of the high years of you manifest your own reality with your thoughts.
Yeah, The Secret, I think, came out in the 90s, didn't it?
Yep. And you can heal your life by Louise Hay. Like all of this messaging about like, if you have a sty in your eye, it's because you have anger issues and you're not seeing clearly.
You just got to say, I love my mom, and it'll go away.
Yeah. You got to say, I see clearly through my anger and your medical issues will go away. Now, I say that with a really snarky tone of voice as a person who does actually believe that you can influence the relative health and wellness in your body by paying attention to your thoughts, not because thoughts are magical, but because of cortisol.
The chemical cascade.
Exactly. If you're working yourself into a tizzy, it impacts inflammation, which impacts the things in your mind. That is a far cry from your thoughts created your cancer. your thoughts created HIV, right? And the reason why I bring up the 80s and the 90s as sort of this confluence of mass illness, suffering, and death, surrounded by a culture that was sort of newly magnifying you create your own reality, which dovetailed really nicely with AIDS as punishment for being gay. So there's this real confluence of this is all your fault. And if you somehow survive it, then you got the lesson that you needed to learn. And that whole punitive orientation to human existence, right? Like bad things happened either because you caused it or because you needed to learn a lesson. Like that is so deeply entrenched in us. I mean, this is part of puritanical culture. It's part of a, like this is the basis of religion, right? Like don't fuck up or you're screwed forever and your family's also screwed.
You get to the gates of hell. You don't even find out till you get there. That's the hard part. You have to die first. So it's a mystery. So just do as good as you can. Also, Santa will bring you more presents if you're good. You won't be on the naughty list.
Exactly.